we're going to give ourselves a little time to arrive. So we're going to slow things down. Take a deep breath in through the nose. And as you do that, roll the shoulders up. Maybe squeeze the fists. Exhale, let it all fall down. Gonna let Meredith in. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Shoulders up. Fists up. Hold it at the top. Exhale through the mouth, let it all fall down. One more time. Inhale through the nose. Shoulders up. Fists up. Retain. Pelvic floor up. Woo! Hold it, hold it, hold it. Exhale through the mouth, let it all go. And as we are starting to arrive, maybe a little bit more of us is present right now. Know that in a space like this, different parts of us arrive at different times. And that's okay. Some parts of you may never arrive today. And that's okay. We are so grateful to have any layer of your energy with us. And I really appreciate you guys taking the time to drop in to yourselves, most importantly. And this is a community space. So it's time that we get to drop in together. To remind our bodies that we're never fully alone. And that many of us are going through many different things. And yet there's typically a through line connecting all of us. There's a lot of big chaotic energy happening. And I'm not going to bring up the news because we need spaces free and clear of that. But the story that came up today that felt so important to share is related to some of what I've been experiencing lately in terms of how do I navigate the energy right now. And it was a funny story that came up. Actually, the practice came up first. I was like, I want us to play with these layers of water. And then this story came up. I was like, oh, I feel the relationship between that. And it was a story of when I was about 7 years old. I was in day camp. I wasn't one to love camp. It was, I think I was 7. I think it was the year after my mother died. And I think that's true because of the energy I felt in the story. I know my mother wasn't there at camp and she worked there. So it was most likely the following year. Because I don't think I continued on for that much longer. But it was a rainy day, like it is here in Santa Cruz. And it was chilly outside. And all of us kids are on the bleachers outside of this big pool. And it was one of the first days where they were going to test us to see what swim group we belonged in. And I was sitting there and I was cold. And I remember turning to the kid next to me and I was like, this is the worst day to go swimming. I don't want to get in the water. And I remember the kid agreeing with me. I don't remember if it was a girl, I don't remember if it was a boy, but I remember the kid being in agreement with me. Because what happened next was the counselor came over and said, I'm going to blow the whistle and you're all going to jump in the pool and you're going to show us how you swim. And the counselor blew the whistle and the kid next to me took off. And I was like, wait, what? We were just in agreement that we didn't want to swim. And I didn't take off. I didn't jump in the pool. And the counselor and one other counselor, it must have been right after my mother died, because it was like kid gloves, we're going to sit with her and we're going to investigate, what's going on here? What is going on? And the counselors came over, and I remember they were like, Victoria, what's happening? And I was just like, I'm cold. And without further inquiry, they put me in the lowest swim group. And I remember there was a part of me, there was a layer to me, even at that age, that recognized I'm being placed in a low performing category. And I'm a bit of an, at some points in my life, I could say overachiever. And, even at a young age, had a little bit of an ego, right? But I remember not stopping them, not questioning them, not advocating, not saying, I don't actually belong here. I know how to swim. I spend my summers in my grandma's pool in Florida. This is not, I didn't say anything. And I went through the stages of learning how to blow bubbles. It was me and one other kid. Taking a kickboard and kicking on the kickboard and practicing kicking. Learning how to float. I mean, some of the adults must have noticed that I knew how to do these things. But there was something that I instinctively knew I needed to repeat all of these little lessons. Why am I bringing this up today? Because it was a moment where I think, since my mother did die, since I was already different, I was treated differently, I got to get away with certain things. I could feel my ego stepping up and saying, you know how to swim. Let them know that you should be in the highest swim group. And there was a layer of me that's competitive that could have activated in that moment. And I said, I'm not going into that. There was a layer of me that when everyone jumped in the pool could have followed along with the social pressure, with the big energy that was happening in my environment. If everyone's jumping in the pool. But because I already felt different and other, I didn't feel inclined to do what everyone else was doing. I had more choice. This tragedy in my life, it gave me choice. And it gave me an awareness. I mean, I remember thinking, you could say something. You could just jump in the pool. You could do things very differently. But I made a choice based on this other level of instinct of my body saying, you need to go through all of these little baby steps and practice again and feel really held and really contained as you move through learning something that you already know. You're going to go through another rung on the spiral and you're going to receive something. And it was a smaller group, and I was able to receive more attention. And I needed that. And I'm bringing this in, and I'm hoping this is stirring some stories in your own minds. Even of present day, where are we making choices from? What part of us is getting a need met? What part of us feels pulled away from our true need because of the swarm, because of the insect mentality, because everyone else is doing it? Lately, I've been feeling really big energy of chaos. I don't want to feel chaos. I'm not going to pretend it's not happening. I'm not going to be ignorant to what's happening. I feel it very deeply. But I'm not going to go into the swarm. I'm not. I can't help people in the swarm. I could dip a toe in it. I could feel the interface of it. I could even put my hand in and feel what it feels like. But I will not jump in that pool. I will not submerge my whole body. And we have to practice how much of us is diving in. What part of us is helping us to make those decisions? How in this moment can we help ourselves get a need met? Is there an inner voice that's saying, if we step out of ego, if we step out of social pressure, if we step out of family pressure, what's my body needing? If we step out of the conditioning where we're not thinking, we're just moving along with where the energy is taking us, we're letting muscle memory kind of carry us, the outside people kind of carry us. Where are we functioning from? Are we slowing down enough to make choice? Is there something in the environment that's allowing you to do that? Thank God it was a cold day that day. Thank God it was rainy and cold. And my body said, I don't want to fucking swim. I'm freezing. And I had the wherewithal to listen. And then it led me to getting a need met that I didn't realize I needed. So as we're talking about layers and choices, there's many different lessons in this story. And it's important we ask ourselves, am I making choices? Do I have any idea of what my need is in this moment? Do I have several competing needs? How do I sequence which one comes first? I had a need to fit in. We all do. I went really against it. I'm sure there were kids who felt like I was being a baby. That wasn't as important to me in that moment because I had already experienced trauma. Important lessons for us to think about. And practicing, finding the right level, finding the right layer. And I want us to really think about how much of us, what parts of us are integrating to make choice of how much we're submerging into a certain environment. I know when I'm home, I can be fully submerged. That wasn't always the case. I didn't always have a safe home. Now I do. I get to fully submerge. I could take a shower and be very quick, and just that outer layer of my body is feeling the water and feeling being cleansed. Or I could fully submerge. And I could let my whole backbone really receive the heat and the pressure from the water. And I could feel that going down into my core. And I could feel the energetic cleansing. I can go deeply submerged in that shower. Or not. I can go fast and just... Things to think about.